right, awesome. So I heard that they're serving mimosas outside. Raise your hand if you've had a mimosa already. Quick survey, who's had a Caesar? Okay, mimosa's more popular. You guys probably are mainly from the US. Okay, so first of all, I want to thank everyone for attending Arpan and I's talk on retail today. I know retail got a lot of stage time yesterday. This is pretty much one of the only retail talks on the track session, so we want to thank you for attending this one. We get the privilege to speak on behalf of one of the most incredible teams at Shopify, the retail team. They didn't get the privilege to be here to meet all of you. I know they would like to. So we want to take this opportunity to share a lot of updates with you. There's going to be many new things that weren't shared yesterday, which we're going to share today. And most importantly, what we want you to leave with today is 2018 is going to be the year that Shopify makes retail better for everyone. So, like I said, we're going to be going through a lot of updates. Don't worry, we'll pause for applause. And most importantly, we're going to be doing a Q&A at the end. So log into the Click app. Go to the Q&A. The code is UNITE. Go to track session number 2, scaling. Put your questions in there. We'll take 10 minutes at the end to answer as many as we can. Upvote your favorite questions. So now I'm going to turn it over to Arpan, who's going to share our retail opportunity at Shopify.
Thanks, Jamie. Before we jump into the product roadmap, I want to spend just a few minutes talking about our conviction for retail. Now, we've talked a lot about retail over the last day. We led with retail in our keynote. But I still get a sense that there are some folks in the audience who are thinking to themselves, Shopify? Retail? Really? And we get it. We read the headlines too. We follow these brands that have been in business for decades, household names that are now closing their doors. And I think it's tempting to write a narrative about the industry based on the headlines. And we've read the headlines, but we've also looked at the data. And I want to jump into the data with you. Now, the story around e-commerce is that it's a rocket ship. The last 2 decades have been all about growth. And most people don't think about retail as being a growth business. It's historic, it's brick and mortar. But what if I told you retail over the next 5 years was expected to grow by $36 billion each year over the next 5 years in North America, where e-commerce feels like the norm, right? So in absolute terms, this is a huge opportunity even compared to e-commerce. And it's all happening during the retail apocalypse, the collapse of retail, which we don't believe in. We actually believe this is an evolution, and within evolution, there is change. And certainly, retail is an industry in transition. Now, Deloitte Insights put out a study earlier this year that I thought was really great, and it broke out retail into these 3 cohorts. And if you look in the middle, the story around retail is maybe not great. That's mid-tier retail. It's a mix of price and promotion-based. Really, it's mediocre retail, and mediocre retail is facing a challenge. On the left, there's price-based, and that's things like off-price retail or discounts or outlets. And those are growing by 40% over the next 5 years. But on the right, this is the space where online-first brands are coming to retail and killing it. These are opinionated brands who are delivering authentic, human-led experiences, and we'll talk more about how we're enabling that through the product roadmap in a minute. But any conversation about retail needs to also mention its scale. And I could tell you that retail is a $25 trillion global industry, and it's growing at 5%, but it's hard to wrap your head around that. So let's try this. 9 out of 10 transactions around the world happens in a brick and mortar store. 9 out of 10. So when we talk about making commerce better for everyone, I hope it's clear why we are so committed to retail. And our small businesses are too, right? They see growth, they see change, they see scale, they see the retail opportunity. And our job on the Shopify product team is to help them get there quickly. And as we figure out how to do that, we're always looking at our customers, and Shopify will always be merchant obsessed. But in retail, we believe that this evolution is being driven by shoppers. Now, shoppers like you and I, we have more information at our fingertips now than we ever have. We all carry supercomputers in our pockets, we know this. But every service that we use, we now expect to be seamless, informative, just great by default. And in commerce, we expect that brands have continuous experiences. They recognize that the customer journey begins on a phone usually, begins with an Instagram post or a message from a friend. And by the time we get into a store, we have a ton of context, right? 83% of shoppers actually believe that when they walk into a store, they know more than the store staff working there. And online-first brands who are coming to retail, they get this. They get that the customer journey probably begins much earlier. This is Cotton. They're based in Toronto. They sell beautiful apparel based out of cotton. And this is their store. What's interesting about their store is it actually looks more like a living room, right? It's a place where you can hang out, sit on the couch, there's a candle burning, there's art on the walls, there's records, there's magazines. You can try on clothes and you can buy them in the store or you can buy them at home. And what Cotton recognizes is that the primary purpose of this store is to deliver something differentiated, something that you can't get online. So they are the ideal customer for us. They represent what we mean when we say experiential commerce. And I want to talk about a couple more brands who are killing it in retail on Shopify. This is Taylor Stitch. They're based in San Francisco. They've been on the platform for a number of years. They started online, and over the years, they iterated on their retail strategy with our tools. They did pop-ups and pop-ins. They sold at friend stores. And more recently, they've opened 2 stores in San Francisco. And what they're doing is they're blending goods, community, and services, right? You can go to the store and you can buy pants, but you can also do custom tailoring or in-house shirting appointments, a level of service that you can't get online. Now, this is another merchant that is near and dear to my heart. This is The Sill, based in New York City. I lived around the corner from their Chinatown store for 4 years, and plants made me happy. They made my wife happy. The first gift I ever bought my wife was a plant from The Sill. And I learned that I didn't know anything about plants. And fortunately, I found that The Sill was offering workshops and events. They taught us how to take care of plants, and over the years, I became a part of their weird, quirky plant community. It was amazing. I became a really loyal customer. And you know what The Sill and Taylor Stitch and Cotton recognize is that retail isn't about warehousing product anymore. And it's not about sales per square foot. That's not the only metric that matters. For them, it's about delivering a standout customer experience, something, again, that can't be replicated online. It's that human connection. And this year at Shopify, we're focused on helping our merchants deliver on that promise. We're building all of the core workflows. We're trying to eliminate all of the noise that exists within retail, all of the store management, so they can focus on working with their customers, building those relationships in stores. So know that if you're a partner in this room, our platform is now ready for multi-store merchants like Taylor Stitch, Cotton, and The Sill. What do they have in common? Thriving online businesses that are multi-channel, multi-store retail businesses. They're blending goods and services, right? And our platform is ready for them. And if you're a developer in this room, I would leave you with one fact, and that is of the thousands of apps in our app store, only 18 are designed primarily for the retail context. That's your retail opportunity.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about a few more opportunities. Our merchants have told us that each of these tasks can be confusing, daunting, time-consuming, and they can all be a barrier of entry into retail. And this is just a sample list. Trust me, the real list on opening up a retail store is much longer than this. These are all opportunities to grow your partner business. We need your help doing what you did for our merchants online, offline. Make retail more accessible to the over 600,000 merchants around the world using Shopify. And these are exciting times. We are the startup within the startup. We're well positioned to accelerate change industry-wide. We want to make retail less transactional and more human. And we've built the foundation to not only scale the product, but to help scale our partner ecosystem. You heard a lot about the things that we're investing in on our partner side. All of those you'll be able to leverage from a retail perspective. So we breezed through a lot of the new features on the main stage. Satish spoke about them yesterday. Arpan's going to take us a little bit deeper and provide a little more detail.
Cool. So to kick things off, I want to talk about multi-location inventory. This is really huge for us, and we've talked about this a lot over the span of the first day, and we'll continue talking about it for the rest of the year. And it's just so critical to multi-store merchants because it'll allow brands like Taylor Stitch and Cotton and The Sill to open that third, fourth, fifth store without having to worry about their inventory. It's because it gives them a bird's eye view of their entire business, right? Staff will be able to check inventory, of course, at their store, but they'll also be able to check inventory at other stores, and they'll be able to check out from other stores. And for bigger brands that have operations people who are working on the supply chain, with that bird's eye view, they'll be able to allocate inventory to locations that need it the most, all from within Shopify. Now, this is table stakes for multi-store merchants. And we're thrilled that this is currently in private beta and will be rolling out to all merchants this summer. Next, there's in-store pickup. Now, click and collect is a behavior that's growing across the world. Brands like Zara and J.Crew are bringing it to their stores, and it's becoming a part of the customer's mental model. And we believe that it's our obligation to help our merchants match their customers' mental models. So we're building in-store pickup to help them do that. It is about the online to offline connection. Again, that customer journey spans screens and devices and locations, and in-store pickup allows them to help their customers get their items however and wherever they want, quickly, cheaply, and easily. This is a key benefit of our point of sale. It's what separates us from traditional point of sale terminals. And so we're working hard to get this feature out by the end of the year. Now, this next feature is one of my favorites because we've talked a lot about the human connection. And this feature allows the people who are actually delivering on that to be rewarded for their work, and that is tipping, right? They're the ones who are delivering the incredible customer service on the floor. So this is a core workflow that we've, again, simplified and made easier. And what's really amazing about tipping is it allows us to meet the needs of all kinds of businesses. Most people think about retail businesses as being primarily goods businesses and services businesses. But in today's retail environment, in order to stand out, we're seeing a convergence of goods and services. Think about Taylor Stitch with their custom shirting, or the barber shop that sells records in the back, or the coffee shop where, of course, tipping is the norm. But they also have a merch business. They sell totes, because every brand sells totes. They sell coffee beans and coffee makers. They have an entire multi-channel online business as well. So they are multi-channel retailers. So this is a small feature with a lot of runway, and it's launching next month. Now, to round out our software updates, we fixed a core workflow, and that's returns and exchanges. We know that the post-purchase interaction is so crucial. It leaves such a lasting impression on shoppers. But historically, store staff had to do workarounds that made their accounting messy. And this year, we changed that. Our new flow is simple, speedy, and accurate. For exchanges, we're giving staff the ability to carry one payment into another payment. And that means for a customer, they can buy something online at one location and return it to another location without ever having to take out her wallet. And we've linked the original and the exchange sale for auditability. And when something gets returned to a store, it gets restocked to that location. Again, this is about taking care of the back office so that staff can focus on their customers. And now to pair with all of our software updates, as you heard on main stage, we're continuing our investment in hardware. Building hardware for us is about delivering the simplest and easiest experience for entrepreneurs, because we know that the last thing an entrepreneur wants to think about when they're opening a store is, how to take payments, right? They're thinking about how to articulate their brand in a physical space. Those are really hard creative problems. We could take care of the rest. So with our new tap and chip reader, reader dock, and customer-facing display, we have built a portfolio for the retail counter, right? These are products that make checkout simpler, easier, more trustworthy. And when you pair these products with our customer-facing display, our point-of-sale SDK, our embedded apps SDK, we're building the surface areas for developers to get their products in front of shoppers and merchants. Things like loyalty apps, CRM apps, event apps. There's so many opportunities here. Jamie's going to tell you about everything we're doing beyond software and hardware to grow retail.
Thanks, Arpan. So we're going to take our Shopify hardware solutions beyond the counter. This is probably my favorite announcement of the day. This was not shared yesterday on the main stage. We have struck a partnership with Nest to resell Nest cameras on the Shopify hardware store. There will be multiple models available at launch. This is the first of what will be many Nest and Google hardware partnerships. So you're probably thinking to yourself, Jamie, that's not very exciting. I can buy a Nest camera at Home Depot. I can buy one at Best Buy. Good for you. I can buy a camera through Nest directly. That's not why I'm excited. Why I'm excited is because of the integration that our product team made into the Shopify admin. You can now have a completely live view of your store through a Nest camera in the Shopify admin for multiple locations. Your in-store security can now be powered by Nest. This is cool. Yeah. So you can stay in the know while on the go with what's happening in your store. There are many more features that we will announce at launch later this summer, so stay tuned. This is super exciting. Okay, so that was our foundation for retail: software, hardware. We know in order to scale our retail footprint, we need to go beyond hardware and software. Retail stores are not just hardware and software. They're people, they're human. And in order to align with the growth and the evolution that we've seen in retail, we've made some investments on the commercial side. We have now built a retail commercial team that their job is to target, engage, and onboard new retail merchants, and they're ready to work with everybody in this room and everybody out in the other rooms to onboard your merchants, existing and new, and help them open up their brick and mortar stores or help them do a pop-up activation. So I want to take this opportunity to share some of my favorite retail partners who've already made their investments in retail with Shopify and with our merchants. The first partner I'm going to talk about, some of you are probably familiar with, Sitel Apps. They've built an inventory counting app. Who here has worked in retail? Raise your hand. Okay, retail's the largest employer in Canada. I worked in retail throughout my entire high school years and in CEGEP and through university. And I remember the most dreaded time at retail was right after Christmas, right after the holidays, when the store owner would close the store, bring in all of the staff, and we would do an inventory count. The store owner had to pay that staff, and they're not bringing any new revenue into the store. So this is a completely negative activity. The result of this activity is actually you get a list of everything that it was stolen internally and externally over the last 12 months. This is a terrible thing within retail. Everybody hates it, but it has to be done. So Sitel has taken this dreadful task and made it easier and less time-consuming, so merchants can focus on what they want to do and what they do best within their retail stores, connecting face-to-face with their customers. The second app that I want to talk about in partners, Helpful Human. I can see that the team from Helpful Human is right here in the front. What's up, guys? Arpan talked about the importance of creating experiences within retail stores and the role that that's going to play within the future of retail. You want your customers with the product that they're going to leave with to be a memory, not a physical good. That's what a lot of retailers are trying to achieve. So this new app allows merchants to create an event on their store and manage events, classes, workshops. Customers can visit the online store and book a spot for an in-person event. I'm really excited to see some of the more creative ways in which this app gets used. I think it's got a ton of runway. The last partner that I want to talk about is Diff. A lot of you are probably familiar with Diff as well. They're one of our longest standing partners. They were absolutely integral in bringing on one of Shopify's largest merchants to date, the Ontario Cannabis Store. This was no small feat. They have 150 locations powered by Shopify POS. And Diff was able to build an integration between the OCS's ERP system and the 150 location Shopify account using Shopify POS. So a big shout out to Ben Crudo and the team from Diff. Thanks for your help. Okay, switching gears a bit. I'm going to try and provide a little bit, I can see I'm sort of running out of time eating into questions here, but I'm going to provide a little bit more information on the new Shopify space. So this is not just a space for Shopify and Shopify's merchants. No, it's far from it. This is also for Shopify's partners. We want you to come in every day, set up shop, work with us, collaborate with us, learn from each other, and most importantly, bring your customers, existing and new, into the space to do demos of Shopify, live in person. We'll have a specific space set aside for that. And to help kick things off in this new space, I'm excited to announce the inaugural Shopify Retail Day for our partners. This is going to happen later this fall. We will talk about all things retail. You'll hear from our product team, you'll hear from other partners, and most importantly, you'll hear from some of our favorite retail merchants. So looking forward to seeing all of you there. There will be limited spots, just like Unite, so book early. Okay, last update, an exciting one. Satish touched on this a little bit yesterday. We're going to talk a little bit about retail pricing. We believe that every merchant, no matter the size, large or small, should be multi-channel. At minimum, selling in one online channel and one offline channel, whether that's an online store or Instagram, a brick and mortar store offline, or a pop-up. They need to be multi-channel in this day and age. And that's why we've decided to remove one more barrier of entry into retail, and that's the way that we price it. Later this month, we'll be removing the $49 per month retail package. We'll be taking all of the functionality from that package and integrating it into the Shopify and Advanced Shopify plans, the $79 and the $299 plan. So now, if you're on the new Shopify or Advanced Shopify plans, you will have all of the functionality to run a brick and mortar store for free. This is huge. And you'll have up to 6 locations of inventory to do that with. We hope these changes encourage our merchants to take advantage of more in-person selling opportunities, or maybe have them take the leap at opening up their first brick and mortar store. So I want to thank everyone for listening. I hope you guys are as energized and excited about the future of retail at Shopify as we are. We want your help making 2018 the year that Shopify makes retail better for everyone. Thank you for listening. Okay, I think we're going to take some questions now.
Okay, so the first is, will you be adding options to add cost to products? Obviously, this is a big one for retail stores, and it is something that we've heard a lot about, and I can't go into the specifics of the roadmap, but know that it is a priority for us, and we believe that in order to give retailers the right tools, we have to deliver on something within cost of goods.
I also think, just to give a shout out there's a few partners who've already built apps that allow you to track cost of goods, so this is something that you can leverage today.
The second is, how can partners get into the private beta for multi-location on a dev store? So all you have to do is opt into the multi-location private beta within Shopify, and within 48 hours, you'll get a link to download the point of sale app that has multi-location enabled.
My glasses on. Let's see. Can we do returns?
Can we do exchange or returns online?
Like an in-person, I guess, maybe if they're saying they bought it in the store. Yeah, so you'd be able to manage an exchange or a return online if the person bought it in store. I'm not sure if that's how the question was asked, but you'll be able to do that.
When do we get the tap card reader in Canada? So within hardware, and especially in payments, there's a ton of compliance. There's a ton of regulatory. We're starting in the US, but Canada is one of our top markets, and we'll work to get there as quickly as possible. There are some questions about other markets, and definitely other markets in Europe and Asia are also on our list, but we're starting with the US.
What was this question here?
will the new card reader support PIN entry? So we'll have accessories to start, and then over time we're exploring ways to support PIN entry more natively. There's a lot happening in the industry to try to streamline the PIN process, and we're going to hopefully be driving that. Is in-store pickup going to have the same rules as shipping rates and only allow specific products to be offered this way? Right now we're defining the sort of business logic around in-store pickup, but one of the huge benefits is obviously to save on shipping. So this is really about helping customers get their items faster and more cheaply. So we'll be exploring ways to waive the shipping process or the shipping costs. You want to get this one? Discounted.
So will there be discounting available for resale of the hardware to merchants for partners? This is something we are exploring for sure with the hardware team. So I would just say stay tuned on that one. I think this is definitely something that, especially if it's an in-house piece of hardware, that we want to allow. Now that you can see we're clearly expanding. So I'll say it's definitely something we're thinking about. What is the current number of installed Shopify POS users globally? So Satish announced this yesterday. It's 70,000 plus on main stage. So it's big. If you go to any of our competitors' websites and look at the number of merchants that they have, we're a serious player there. Will tipping show up on the customer-facing display? Yes?
Yes, and tipping will also be available in the orders view. So there are ways that I think developers can take advantage of that, looking at all the tipping coming in and building potentially experiences or apps that are merchant-focused based on that.
Okay, some repetitive questions. Will card reader be available? Okay, will there be support for less conventional kinds of sales, products by weight or length or units of time? Not currently. This is something where I think this is an opportunity for everybody in the room to build, using the POS SDK to build something on top of Shopify POS, using the cart edit scripts could be done. I think that's it. Yeah. All right. Thanks very much. Arpan and I will be floating around the outside if you see us and didn't get your question answered.
Thanks,
come
everyone.
talk to us. Thanks, guys.